yamunatiravanachari yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Kalachandji Radha Kalachandji Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Shri Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jai Shri Radha Kalachan Ji ki jai. Thank you so much for coming. I think the time changed today. Probably I was running a few minutes late. I'm sorry for that. Let's start the class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can read this together. Narayanam namaskritya navaram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya Bhagavati uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So we are on Canto 4, Chapter 31, and we're going to be reading today from verse 20 to the last verse of the chapter, 31. And today we're going to focus on verse 20. Verse 20. So this is the main verse. We can start, let's start with reading translations. Yes. 20, yeah.
Being completely cleansed of all material desires, the devotees are freed from all mental contamination. Thus they can always think of the Lord constantly and address Him very feelingly. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, knowing Himself to be controlled by His devotees, does not leave them for a second, just as the sky overhead never becomes invisible.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes very dear to those devotees who have no material possessions, but are fully happy in possessing the devotional service of the Lord. Indeed, the Lord relishes the devotional activities of such devotees. Those who are puffed up with material education, wealth, aristocracy, and fruitive activity are very proud of possessing material things, and they often deride the devotees. Even if such people offer the Lord worship, the Lord never accepts them.
So we see in these two verses what is described the relationship the Lord has with devotees and with non-devotees. So we can go further.
Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient, it becomes dependent on its devotees. He does not care for the goddess of fortune, nor for the kings and demigods who are after the favors of the goddess of fortune. Where is that person who is actually grateful and who will not worship the personality of Godhead?
The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, Sri Narada Muni, the son of Lord Brahma, thus described all these relationships with the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the Prachetas. Afterward, he returned to Brahmaloka.
Hearing from Narada's mouth the glories of the Lord, which vanquish all the ill fortune of the world, the Prachetas also became attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Meditating on His lotus feet, they advanced to the ultimate destination.
My dear Vidura, I have told you everything you wanted to know about the conversation between Narada and the Prachetas. The conversation describing the glories of the Lord. I have related this as far as possible.
Shukadev Goswami continued, O best of kings, King Parikshit, I have now finished telling about the descendants of the first son of Swayambhuva Manu, Uttanapad. I shall now try to relate the activities of the descendants of Priyavrata, the second son of Swayambhuva Manu. Please hear them attentively.
Although Maharaj Priyavrata received instructions from the great sage Narada, he still engaged in ruling the earth. After fully enjoying material possessions, he divided his property among his sons. He then attained a position by which he could return home, back to Godhead.
My dear King, in this way, after hearing the transcendental messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His devotees from the great sage Maitreya, Vidura was overwhelmed with ecstasy. With tears in his eyes, he immediately fell down at the lotus feet of his Guru, the spiritual master. He then fixed the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the core of his heart.
Sri Vidura said, O great mystic, O greatest of all the devotees, by your causeless mercy I have been shown the path of liberation from this world of darkness. By following this path, a person liberated from material world can return home back to Godhead.
Sukadev Goswami continued, Vidura thus offered obeisances unto the great sage Maitreya, and taking his permission, started for the city of Hastinapur to see his own kinsman, although he had no material desires.
O king, those who hear these topics about kings who are completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead obtain without difficulty a long life, wealth, good reputation, good fortune, and ultimately the opportunity to return home back to Godhead.
Haribo, we had exact number of verses today. There are people. Perfect.
Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 31st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Narad Instructs the Prachetas. End of the 4th canto.
Drum roll. Okay. Thank you so much. So, before we go ahead talking about the verses, let's recite verse 20 and then we can start discussing them. Okay. You can, we can repeat after me. Apahata sakaleshana amalatmani Apahata sakaleshana amalatmani Avirita medhita bhavano puhutaha Nijajana vasagatva matmano ayan Nasarati chidravadaksharaha satamahi. Okay, once more, I think I can do better. Apahata sakale shanamalatmani Avirita medhita bhavano pahutaha Nijajana vashaga tvamatmanoyan Nasarati chidravadaksharaha satamahi. Would you like to recite? Apahata sakalesha namalatmani. Okay. Avirita medhita bhavana pahutaha. It's okay. Nijajana vasakatavam atmanoyan Nasarati chidravadakshara satamahi. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. I'll quickly go ahead with the word-to-word translation. We can read together as well. Apahata, vanquished. Shakala, all. Eshana, desires. Amala, spotless. Atmani, to the mind. Aviritam, constantly. Edhita, increasing. Bhavana, with feeling. Upahutaha, being called. Nijajana, of his devotees. Vasha, under the control. Gatvam, going. Atmanaha, his. Ayan, knowing. Na, never. Sarati, goes away. Shidravat, like the sky. Aksharaha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tatam, of the devotees. He, certainly. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Being completely cleansed of all material desires, the devotees are freed from all mental contamination. Thus, they can always think of the Lord constantly and address Him very feelingly. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, knowing Himself to be controlled by His devotees, does not leave them for a second, just as the sky overhead never becomes invisible. Purport. It is clear from the previous verse that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janardana, is very quickly satisfied by the activities of his devotees. The pure devotee is always absorbed in the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated, Shnavatam Swakataha Krishnaha. By always thinking of Krishna, the pure devotee's heart is freed from all kinds of desires. In the material world, the heart of the living entity is filled with material desires. When the living entity is cleansed, he does not think of anything material. As the mind is completely cleansed, one attains the perfectional stage of mystic yoga, for then the yogi always sees Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart. As soon as the Lord is seated within the heart of the devotee cannot be contaminated by the material modes of nature. As long as one is under the control of the material modes, he desires so many things and makes so many plans for material sense enjoyment. But as soon as the Lord is perceived in the heart, all material desires vanish. When the mind is completely free from the material desire, the devotee can think of the Lord constantly. In this way, he becomes completely dependent upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays. I'll read the translations. My dear Lord, I am your eternal servant, but somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of this material world. Kindly pick me up and fix me as a speck of dust at your lotus feet. Similarly, Srila Narottam Das Thakur prays, my dear Lord, you are now present with the daughter of King Rishabhanu, Srimati Radharani. Now both of you please be merciful upon me. Don't kick me away because I have no shelter other than you. In this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes dependent on his devotee. The Lord is invincible, yet he is conquered by his pure devotee. He enjoys being dependent on his devotee, just as Krishna enjoyed being dependent on the mercy of Mother Yashoda. Thinking himself dependent on the devotee gives the Supreme Lord great enjoyment. Sometimes a king may engage a joker, and in the process of joking, the king is sometimes insulted. The king, however, enjoys those activities. Everyone worships the Supreme Lord with great reverence. Therefore, the Lord sometimes wants to enjoy the chastisement of his devotee. In this way, the relationship eternally existing between the Lord and his devotee is fixed just like the sky overhead. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Srila Prabhupada Jai Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji. Okay. So we all know that Srimad Bhagavatam is all about glorifying the Lord and his devotees. And the Lord feels pleased when we glorify him, but he feels even more pleased, like 100x times pleased, when we glorify his devotees. So right now we know what is, we are hearing a story within a story within a story, right? So we know the original speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukdev Goswami, is reciting Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And now he's telling a story where Maitri Muni is reciting a story to King Vidura, where he is reciting a story about Narad Muni giving instructions to Prachetas. So we are like a story within a story within a story. So there are so many lessons that we can learn in these narrations. So the theme for today is that we need to be totally dependent on the Lord, totally surrendered, not partially, not 10%, not 90% also. We have to be fully surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord. And when we do that, the Lord becomes totally dependent on the devotee. So the Lord becomes dependent on the devotee when we are fully surrendered, when we are fully dependent. And we hear such beautiful pastimes where devotees have full surrenderance unto the Lord. Can we quickly have some examples that come to your mind where where a pure devotee is completely surrendered to the Lord? Prahlad Maharaj, yes. Ambarish Maharaj, very good. Srila Prabhupada, yes. Anybody else? Any other pure devotee that we can think of? Dhruv Maharaj, yes. Prahlad Maharaj, yes. There's so many pure devotees, and when we hear these pastimes, it is so beautiful. Kunti Maharani, yes, she's asking always for miseries, because miseries make her feel more conscious of Krishna all the time. So all Pandavas were surrendered. Draupadi, right? You've all given amazing examples, and just when we hear these pastimes, that desire to someday that we will also become fully dependent on the Lord, that seed is planted, right? That desire comes that, Krishna, I know I'm not there yet, but I want to be fully dependent. And be careful when you ask for that, because when you ask for that, Krishna gives a lot of tests along our way. Where, there's this amazing thing I heard somewhere, that when we ask for patience, when we pray for patience, Krishna doesn't grant patience. He gives us situations where we are tested of, we are made impatient. We feel like, oh my God, what are you doing, Krishna? And Krishna's like, you just prayed for that. So I'm not going to give you for free. I'm going to send you circumstances where you're going to develop patience. Similarly, when we ask for the Lord, Krishna, I want devotion. So he will give you maybe very turbulent circumstances where you can become extremely focused in your meditation towards the Lord. So Krishna is Teda, he's not okay, you ask for it and he gives you. He gives you in the right way, because that is when we become mature. That is when we become spiritually mature and fixed in our meditation. So there are some qualities that we keep hearing from Krishna, about Krishna, that, it's an open question. What are some qualities that only Krishna has? Yeah, nobody plays the flute like him. Yeah, that's true. He's playing it right now. We can't hear it, but he's playing it. And I have a wonderful pastime for this. I'll come to that. Any other qualities? For? Specific quality. Oh, yeah. Childhood pastimes. Yes, definitely. He lifted Govardhan. Nobody else can do that. So Krishna says that he's absolute truth. The Bhagavatam says, Bhagavad Gita says, he's the absolute truth. We say Krishna often lies. How can the absolute truth lie? Why? Because he lies to increase the loving exchange between him and his devotees. We'll tell Mother Yashoda, no, I did not eat butter. And he's fully going on in all the houses of Braj and stealing butter. So why is he lying? Does the Lord lie? He tells us not to lie. That's the instruction for all of us, that we have to be very sincere. But he lies because he exchanges that, he increases that loving exchange. He's infallible. He never falls down from his position. But what does he do for his devotees? Like, he makes a promise he will not fight in the battle. And what does he do? He lifts the wheel of the chariot and he throws, like he's charging towards Bhishma Dev. He broke his own promise. I mean, for us, if we make a promise, I mean, our promises don't matter. Like, it's like we break them very quickly. But Krishna making a promise is like, he doesn't care if he breaks it. He doesn't care if he, he ran away from the battlefield when Jarasandh was there, right? And everybody calls him very nicely Ranchod. Even, I mean, in Gujarat, they glorify Ranchod ki jai. But the Jarasandh was like, hey man, I can't fight with you. I mean, against my dignity, last time you ran away. But why did he go? Rukmani was calling him to save him from the marriage. Like, she was getting married to Shishupal. And Krishna doesn't care what the world will say. He just left from there and he went to Rukmani like a hero. He just, he took her away. What are the other things that Krishna says and then it's different for devotees? Can you explain that? Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll wait for the mic. Thank you.
So first one is Venu Madhurya, the flute. Then Leela Madhurya. Leela is pastimes, as Drishyam Prabhu said. Then Rasa Madhurya is special loving exchanges with gopis or the Brajvasis. And finally Bhakti Madhurya, which is pure devotees.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Prabhuji. Krishna is also what? Unconquerable. But he is conquered by the love of his devotees. Is there anybody who can conquer Krishna? Nobody can. Nobody can even think of doing that. They might think, but they can never go even closer to do that. And Krishna is conquered by the love of his devotees. Just love. Love is such a powerful tool. And it's so beautiful that, we hear that we have to be dependent on Krishna and we feel maybe our independence is going away or maybe, it's so difficult. But how is it difficult if you tell a child, don't worry, just be dependent on your father. For all the meals, for everything, he's going to supply it to you. Right? The child is very happy. I don't have to do anything. That's what, scriptures are telling us, to just be fully dependent on the Lord, and He's completely dependent on you, vice versa. He's undefeated, but only defeated by the love of the devotees. So there are so many pastimes that show that how easily he is purchased by love. We know that famous pastime before Rasa Leela when Krishna was playing the flute, right? On just before Ekadashi, the Sharad-Ratriya Rasa Leela. He's playing the flute, and it is, I might be missing the details, but some of the devotees would know. So he has certain rag, like I don't know, sur, something like that, which reaches from 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5th. So when he plays in the first rag or sur, the river stops flowing, and it starts flowing in the opposite direction because of the love. Because of the love the river is feeling. And the stones, I mean, the animals start dancing, but it's only the 5th rag that the gopis can hear. Nobody else can hear. Only the 5th one, only the gopis can hear that. So when Krishna entered in that sur, all the gopis, at that time it was night, and all the gopis were serving their families. And when they heard that, they went mad. They went mad with love because every day of their lives, they were just waiting for Krishna to reciprocate in that manner. I mean, they've been doing for lifetimes in Dandakaranya ashram, right? Before, when Ramachandra cave. That's when all the rishis were constantly praying to the Lord. They were in years and years of meditation. And that got matured or manifested in terms of they becoming gopis. So they are very pure devotees. And when Krishna called them, they left everything. It's so funny that, if somebody was putting kajal, they put kajal here, which is supposed to be on the eyes. They put lipstick here. The earrings they are wearing here, and the garments are like up and down. Like they don't know what's happening, and they just forget everything and run towards where Krishna is, towards the forest. They forgot their families. They forgot their they were, whatever they were feeding to their in-laws, they just left it there. And I mean, imagine that kind of love that the devotees have, that Krishna just called them once. They heard the flute and they just ran. They left everything and ran. Why would not Krishna come to such a devotee? Why would not Krishna be dependent on those devotees who have only one focus? So that is what this verse is saying. We need to have just one focus. Our our dearest person in our life should be Krishna. When we say Pran Vallabh, it even means dearer than my own life. Krishna should be dear to me than my own life. In fact, Krishna says that nobody is dear to me than my devotees, not even Lakshmi, not even Balaram, not even my own self. Krishna says that. The devotee is more dear to me. He's the dearest to Krishna. All demigods, all of us, everybody in this world is running after goddess of fortune, right? We are praying to wealth, Lakshmi. And there are so many millions of goddesses of fortune that are running towards Krishna, wanting to serve him. Krishna doesn't want that. Krishna leaves all of that and comes to the devotee. I don't know how many times I know I've said this like 10 times right now, but when we start understanding this, that Krishna can only be controlled by love because he wants to be controlled by love. What is the need for him to appear on material world and be controlled by Yashoda Maya, who's running behind him with a stick? What is the need for that? What is she's tying him to the wooden mortar, like she's tying him with a rope. Why does Krishna want to just leave everything, all the pleasures of Golok or Vrindavan and come here? Why? Because Krishna goes where devotees are. He doesn't care where he is, but he wants to be where a pure devotee is. Prahlad Maharaj, the level of surrenderance Prahlad Maharaj has. Trust me, if we are we are never put in a situation like that, I hope, but if we are put in a situation like that, imagine just one life threat comes to us. That somebody wants to, his own father wanted to kill him, but if some life threat comes to us, we'll be super disturbed. We'll be constantly thinking of the life threat, oh, how will I escape and all. But what did Prahlad Maharaj do? Constantly he was being attacked, not by threats, but verbal threats, but by mad elephants. He was put in a room where there were mad elephants. He was the arrows were shot. He was thrown in a room of snakes. He was thrown from a height, and all he could think of was Krishna. And he was not even 1 second deviated from his meditation on focusing on Krishna. So we need to have one focus. I'm saying that again and again for myself. We need to have one focus. Once an interviewer asked Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj that, you Hare Krishnas, you have just one track mind. Only Hare Krishna, always behind Krishna. So Maharaj said that, no, we have multi-tracks of mind, but all tracks lead to Krishna. So I think the other day, Jishudrim Prabhu gave a class where he said this thing, that we need to make that balance. That, how women in the village, they carry pots filled with water. That's the example he gave. And they're balancing that everything. They're balancing the weight on their head, and they're talking. They are probably, hands are moving, movement of hands is there. They're probably eating also. But the focus is that the pot should not fall. So that pot of devotion that we have, maybe it's in our heart, that we need to refill and rekindle. And no matter what we are, not no matter what we are doing, but anything that we are doing our conditional duties as well, right? There are two duties as a soul, constitutional duty and conditional duty. Constitutional duty is the duty of a soul to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is our eternal relationship. And the conditional duties are me as a wife, my duty, as a daughter, what duty I have, as a citizen of my country, whatever duty I have, as a human being, what is my duty. So these duties will go on. We don't have to neglect those just by saying, okay, you know, I'm just chanting all day long, which is great. I mean, but we have both duties. So, but we should never ever forget our constitutional devotee, and that is to serve the Lord. And yesterday somebody shared a quote in the group by Radhanath Swami Maharaj that to serve means, to love means to serve, and to serve means to please, right? So you want to love someone, you will serve them. A mother does not keep saying, I love you to the child, just I love you to the child. But she serves the child. Whenever the child, before the child even asks for anything, the mother and the father, they know what the child wants. The child doesn't have to say, Mama, I'm hungry. They know, okay, the child, I know my child will be hungry. They already pack, you know, fruits for them, dry fruits for them, food for them. They know the child will be hungry at this point. The child will feel cold here. The child does not like, you know, talking to strangers. So I know I need to protect my child there, or, you know, help him out or help her out. So a mother knows that is her way of pleasing, serving the child. So Krishna is also serving us. As devotees, we are constantly trying, endeavoring that we can think of Krishna. But even people who are not devotees, isn't Krishna serving them? They are getting, their bodies are functioning well, they are getting oxygen to breathe, they are getting money, everything for them, everything is available even for them. Krishna doesn't say that if you don't love me, I will not give you the my blessings. Krishna gives blessings to everyone, but he makes that exception that those who love me, they are very, very dear to me. So there's a difference between being dear to someone and being extremely dear to somebody. So we want to be in the second category, right? That we are constantly thinking of the Lord. So this amazing one small pastime where Hanuman goes to Lord Ram and he says, oh, you know, I've heard there's a book you have where you have the name of all the devotees who are thinking of you constantly. So can I see that book? Because he wanted to see if his name is there or not. I'm sure most of you have heard this pastime. And he opens the book and he reads from start to end, and Hanuman's name is not there. I mean, that's surprising, right? Hanuman is all about Jai Shri Ram, like he's always thinking of the Lord, of his master. And he's like, his name is not there. And then Lord Ram gives another book where the title is, where the Lord is constantly thinking of these devotees. The name of the devotee, the Lord is constantly thinking of. And then Hanuman sees only, his name being there. So even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that act in a way that Krishna wants to see you. Krishna is so pleased that he wants to see, wow, this is my devotee. Look at him acting in a way, look at her acting in a way that, you know, she's pleasing me so much that Krishna only, you know, in the hall full of devotees, he's looking for you. Like imagine that situation where Krishna is, or all of us being pure devotees, and Krishna is just happy, he's just dancing on the altar. If we give him that pleasure, we give him that love, and we serve him with that intensity, Krishna is sold like that. He's just sold. And that's our life goal, that we need to be fully focused on increasing our emotions, loving emotions towards the Lord by each and every Harinam that we do. That's our starting. And that's the first commitment that we can make. Also the easiest way to transcend ourselves, because in Kali Yuga, Harinam is the only way, right? So if we can make that commitment that Krishna, every name that I call out to you, I want to be closer to you, and I'm actually just calling out to you. And Krishna is actually listening, but we are not maybe chanting that attentively. You know, it is said that Krishna consciousness is rare, not because it's difficult, but because we are not interested. So Krishna consciousness is rare because we are not showing that in level of interest that we need to, or that level of intensity that we need to. And there's the 21st verse, which is even important, that Krishna does not accept those souls or those people who deride devotees, who ridicule devotees. Krishna does not accept them. So we need to be very careful that we should not make any offenses, even mentally, because that's where it starts. We think mentally that, okay, it doesn't matter, we start judging someone because we don't know the story. We don't know the other person's story. We don't know what's happening in their life, and we quickly judge. But only I think 1% of the whole the whole world's population is of devotees. So we should be very happy that we are surrounded by devotees. But sometimes we take that for granted, and but we should not make the mistake of making an offense, because Krishna will see that as well, and Krishna does not like that. So if we love Krishna, we need to learn that we have to please devotees, serve them, because Krishna gets, if you want to fast track your process to having a stronger relationship with Krishna, we need to make strong, loving relationship with devotees. That's the fast track path. I mean, we can be here for longer if we have that much time or that much patience, but yeah, we are tired of chewing the chewed, right? Every year, every birth, same. I mean, we get tired in the same life. By same thing, monotony, by tired of seeing ugly things happening around us, sad things happening around us. We're tired, right? We don't want to come again and again just watching it get worse yuga by yuga. Or, I mean, in this yuga itself, years and years, decades later, things will be very different and very difficult. So I think I would stop here. Maybe I had lots more to say, but I've got to stop. Okay, I will open this for questions and any kind of realization and comments and corrections. So please go ahead. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Beautiful class. I was curious, like when you were talking about the surrender of the gopis and they heard Krishna's flute, in connection with you were saying that Radhanath Swami says to love means to serve, and to serve means to please. So it seems like that the gopis were just attracted by the beauty of the sound, and they wanted to, I'm just a neophyte, they wanted to enjoy Krishna, to enjoy the beauty of what the source of that beautiful sound was. So how is that not the case? Or
so what I think is that, so Krishna, we often refer to Krishna as Atmaram, that he's self-sufficient. He does not need anybody for his increasing his pleasure. But when it comes to devotees, gopis are not like any rare devotees. They are the topmost devotees. In I think Brihad Bhagavatam, or no, I think in some scripture it is said that there was, Narad Muni was searching for the pure devotee, and eventually they came to the gopis as the topmost devotees. So here, them running towards towards Krishna, or leaving everything, is their highest. It is an epitome of surrenderance itself, because that they're leaving everything. Like, imagine they didn't care what the world would say. They're leaving their husbands, they're leaving their houses, and they're running towards Krishna to serve him. Here, that service comes because that is, they're treating as if only Krishna matters to them. When you do that, you're kind of expressing or denoting by your actions that nothing matters to me except Krishna. And if he's calling me right now, I've got to leave my... Some devotees were not allowed to leave, and they left their bodies and went for Ras Leela. Right? We hear that from Radha Govind Maharaj. His classes, oh my God. I keep saying that to everyone. His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj's classes on Gopi Geet. It's like a 7-day seminar, and he's done in 2005, 2006, 2007. He gives amazing about this whole Ras Leela, where probably we'll be able to understand this better, because yeah, we are still at a sadhaka state, right, where we are trying to serve tangibly to the Lord, but gopis are at a very high state, as a spontaneous, pure devotional service, where they're just following the instructions of Krishna. So I think when you ask me, are they attracted? I think even to come to that point that they're attracted is the biggest service they can do. I think you already knew that, but yeah, it's nice that you pointed that out so that we can learn that our attraction is not easy. Right now, we are attracted with wealth, beauty, prestige, honor, praises. We're attracted by all of that. We are not attracted by Krishna right now. I am saying for many of us that we are probably attracted to some things that we like, but if we were truly attracted to Krishna, that, it will just change our life. So I think that's the pure service, pure love that we are looking for. And then Krishna becomes a puppet. Like, if we are ready to give our strings to Krishna, and Krishna, please make me dance, like Srila Prabhupada said, make me dance like you want to, right? We should be willing to dance for Krishna. We should be willing to run here and there, do whatever, and understand that, Krishna, I'm doing this for you. I hope you're watching. And Krishna, you know what the elderly gopis did? Yashoda Maya and all the gopis, when Krishna was small, he was very, very young, and they used to love him when Krishna used to dance. So if he needed something like, Maya, I need milk, I need this, I need food, okay, first dance for us. They used to tell Krishna, and Krishna, like a small kid, like he's like, oh my God, like if I need something, imagine Mahavishnu or like Krishna, Supreme Personality of God, are thinking, I have to dance for food, I have to dance for this. But gopis really enjoyed that, and they were so happy, and Krishna enjoyed more by giving that pleasure to his devotees. So, yeah, I think just there's so many pastimes that keep coming. But yeah, any other question or any other comment?
I have another comment, but I was thinking on this, like, as a parent, you're sitting down or you're cooking dinner or you're reading or something like that, and in the other room, you hear your kids say, Mom, Dad, or, you yell that, and you can think, no, you come here to me. But out of love of your children, you go, okay, you set down your book, or you sit down and you go see them, So when a little bit of a practical experience as a father, that you're willing to give up what you're doing to go take care of your children because they're calling. I was appreciating your point about how Krishna takes care of everyone. And it was reminding me of when we were at the Krishna House retreat in Govardhan, that we were listening to Madhava Prabhu, and he was explaining, there were so many people coming and taking parikram at Govardhan Hill, and he said, look, all of these people are coming and taking shelter of Krishna. And he said, they're coming from hundreds of miles away to come and take parikram. And he says, they might be coming for so many different reasons, but Krishna just loves that they are coming to take shelter of him. And so when I was thinking about that, I was thinking, I hope that in my life that I can, no matter whatever it is that's in my heart or whatever my desire is, if I can just take shelter of Krishna and have this full surrender that if it's up to him, if it's good for me, then he will bring it. I'll have that patience that you were talking about. So I was really appreciating this point of everybody's dependent on Krishna. But as devotees, how do we step that further up by being completely dependent on Krishna? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for that. It reminds me of, in this verse, it says, right, the sky is always above us. That's the an analogy that's given. Just like Krishna is always with us, so he's just a call away. Like, we can ignore the sky. We can, if the sky is dark, we can be in denial. The sky is not there, but it's always going to be there. So just like that, Krishna, we can be in denial of his existence. We can ignore him, by being bahirmukh, like just looking outside and not looking towards Krishna. but that will not make Krishna go away from your heart. He's there. So I think there's Jahnavi Mataji's beautiful kirtan where she's saying, I think rise because you're knocking from the inside. That's the lyrics. I don't know, it's a beautiful song by Jahnavi Harrison Mataji. So he's knocking from the inside, like Jeev Jago. But we've got to respond, and it's our benefit when we do that. It's nobody else's benefit. Krishna has so many pure devotees, but still, Krishna is waiting for you. When we think that Krishna is waiting for me, and I'm such a silly person that I'm not even looking at him, I'm not even listening to him, and it's for my benefit. I'm being my own, what's the opposite of well-wisher? I'm being I'm creating my own impediments, and I'm being just no, I don't want that. That's because we are covered with our own anarthas. It's our anarthas stopping us. I don't know, last time also I said this, that I will tell a pastime where, one very, very quickly, but when Srila Prabhupada was in with Krishna up there before coming here, he's one of the sakhas of Krishna, and Krishna said that I want, no? Is that a different opinion there? Okay, maybe it's very, no, I'm not. So I'm just telling, when I'm just quoting what I heard from a devotee. I heard from Nityanand Prabhu this past time, that he just said that when Krishna eats in, he eats in a circle with all his sakhas up there, right? So he called Prabhupada and he asked him, do you love me? He said, of course. What kind of a question is that? I mean, I love you. And Krishna asked that for 10 days. Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And every day he said yes. And then he got fed up. Like, Krishna, what do you want? I mean, you're just asking me. And then Krishna asked, okay, will you do anything for me? He said, yes, I can give. I mean, I'm here. I'm here for you. What more of a proof do you want? And Krishna asked that again for days. And then Prabhupada said, just ask me, what do you want? And he's like, I want you to go down to the material world and get my devotees back. They are struggling there. And Prabhupada said that, it's not that the devotees don't want to come back to you. Your Maya is so strong that, the devotees are not able to, souls are not able to go to a realization platform, and that's why they're not coming back. So Krishna said, yes, you have to go and do that. And Prabhupada didn't want to come. Because he said, your Maya is so strong. What if I go down and and I don't want to lose you, Krishna. I don't want to, of course, for Prabhupada as a pure devotee, that stage will not come. But still, Prabhupada always says that stage doesn't come, because I think Ajit Prabhu last time told me that devotee, when Prabhupada said that I may fall down, and not exactly that, but he said something, and devotee said, Prabhupada, how can you fall down? He said, yes, I will never fall down because I pray. So Maya is so strong that anybody can get in this condition, in this conditioned body, we can get, we can forget our relationship with the Lord. So Prabhupada didn't want to do that, but he came specially and he said, okay, I will go and give your books and come back. So that's what Prabhupada, and that's why, he spent sleepless nights writing these books for us. And they are so strong that actually Krishna, and that devotees are actually making, they're getting advanced by reading these books. So my point was that, yes, Maya is very, very strong. But yeah, I started with saying that our anarthas, they stop us from elevating in our path of Krishna consciousness. But we have got only one hope, and that is what Prabhupada has given us, that we do these basic duties, these basic following the 4 regulative principles, chanting our rounds, and then Prabhupada takes the guarantee. He takes guarantee for us. What else do we want? So yeah, it's made so simple for us. And our anarthas automatically, like it is said that, right, we have to get rid of all material desires, but that will automatically happen when we start this process of Krishna consciousness, because the whole process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, and glorifying devotees, serving devotees, everything, it automatically purifies us. So we don't have to wait for getting cleansed and then going to Krishna? Do you go to a doctor after you're healed? Or you go to a doctor when you are having a disease? No, I will go to the doctor once I'm healed, then I will visit the doctor. Because what will he cure then? I mean, that's the point. Oh, I will wait for my anarthas to go away, then I will do Krishna consciousness. No, that's not how it happens. You approach Krishna, you approach the doctor. I mean, the doctor comes out, right, as Jagannath. When you're not going to the clinic, the doctor comes out of the clinic. It's like Jagannath, you're not going to the temple, but Jagannath wants to, come out and give darshan to everybody. So that's what we have to do. We don't have to wait for us to get cleansed. That would automatically happen. So we just have to nicely follow the process. So yeah, I think I don't want to, again, delay Mahaprasad. Okay. Anything else? Yes, Prabhu. Oh, you did? Okay.
SrilaPrabhupada.org. It says that this is conversation between Bhavananda Prabhu and Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada said, I have so many palaces all over the world that I can stay in. Practically speaking, there's no difference between the Goswamis and me in terms of our lifestyle. They stayed under a different tree every night. I stay in a different palace every night. They wrote, I write. Originally, I did not want to come here. And then it says in parentheses, he was not talking about coming to America, but to this world. He said, Krishna asked, I want you to write these books. Come down and write those books. Prabhupada said to Krishna, but I don't want to go to the material world. Krishna said, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. You write those books. That was the first and only time that I've ever heard or read where Prabhupada actually spoke about Krishna speaking to him and how he didn't want to go. When he spoke in that way, the atmosphere was like nothing I've ever experienced. This is from Memories, Anecdotes of a Modern Day Saint, Volume 2 by Siddhanta Das.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Prabhu. Can you also share that in the Bhagavatam group? Yeah, thank you. Okay, we can wrap up, I guess. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant Koti Vaishnav Bhakt Vrind ki jai.